17 is not 500. But what we lack in numbers, we have in spirit and friendship. So I look out here in this audience and I see friends. And so thank you for coming. I hope that my message will be of some value today for you. Now, there's this mother, she has a name, Mary Ellen Smoot. She tells a story.
She's not in the camera. You're not in the camera, sorry. Perfect.
Okay. So she had a young rascal that played baseball, and she would sit there in the sidelines visiting with the other moms, and she did this all summer, right? Visiting through all these baseball games, but except for when her son got up to bat, she stopped talking and she paid him her full attention. It was his turn to shine, his opportunity to make a play. And then that moment, the team depended on him. How many of you been part of a team sport? You know how it is.
Yeah.
You screw up, you're in the doghouse. You do something good, everyone's really glad. Anyway, this is a team effort. We work together. So sometimes he would walk to first base. Sometimes he'd strike out. Sometimes he'd make a base hit, and once in a while he'd make a home run. Each turn at bat gave him an opportunity to learn, make changes, and improve. His individual contribution to the success of the team was very evident to him. And also his mom, she understood this. And that's why every time he got up to bat, she stopped. She sat on the edge of her seat and waited, cheering him on. Now, this sermon is about life, its ups and downs, its opportunities and challenges, and its blessings, and what part God plays in our life if we seek it. Do you remember the announcements? They used to interrupt our regularly scheduled TV program. This is a test of the emergency broadcast system. Does this ring a bell?
Yeah.
It is only a test. If there were a real emergency, you would be notified through the station. So you've probably seen the poster that went along with that. Sarcasm. It said, life is a test. It is only a test. Had this been a real life, you would have been given instructions as to where to go and what to do. Yes, this life is a test. It's only a test, meaning that's all it is, nothing more, but also nothing less. It's a test of many things, of our convictions and priorities, of our faith and patience and resilience. Each turn at bat gives us an opportunity to learn, make changes, and improve. Each turn gives us a chance to make a difference in this world. In the end, this life is a test of our in the end, this life is a test of our ultimate desires. What are they? Whatever they are. Know this. What you desire has a tendency to come to pass. You feel at times, like this poster, that life is missing an essential ingredient like instructions, perhaps a user manual, one that is infallible and easy to understand. What if there was a musical score? I would think of this. You're going through life and you hear this musical score in the background. A villain walks into the room and you know it because the music goes dum dee dum dum. You ever see that in the movies? You don't know this person looks just like the average Joe, just like any other actor, but the music tells you, pay attention. He's probably the murderer, unless they're trying to trick you, which they always do. But the music is right there doing this. And then the special boy or girl walks into the room and the flutes and violins are having a love affair, and you know for sure that this person is special because sweet, life-enriching tones are filling your head. Well, Of course, you better walk up to that person and say hello, but only if the musical score of your life tells you to do so. Since we don't have this musical score floating through our head to guide us, maybe we could get some useful information for our thoughts by paying attention to them. In what way could we discover what our thoughts are? Oh. So you ever done that? Paid attention to your thoughts? What an ominous idea that is. There are so many thoughts. It's coming from here and from there and everywhere. That would they would drive us crazy. That's just, there's got to be something better than that. And so, you know, my teacher once said that our desires are buried in our deep subconscious mind. So the subconscious does not think, obviously, or it wouldn't be called the subconscious. So that's where our emotional guidance system comes in. Your emotions are what helps you understand what you're thinking. Your thoughts cause feelings, and those feelings tell you what it is that you were thinking. In addition, emotions are this incredible gift that we have to let us know what we are attracting, or our thoughts empowered by emotions create our world. Thoughts empowered by emotions takes the emotion, the power of emotion. This is one big happy family here. Thoughts, feelings, desires, and manifestations. Let's simplify this. There are only really two kinds of emotions. One feels good and one feels bad. All the negative emotions, let's see, whether you call them guilt, anger, or frustration, feel much the same. They do not feel good, which is telling you what you're thinking about right now is not in line with what you really want. Oh, did you hear that? Want sounds a lot like desire, doesn't it? So our logical mind presents choices we may be considering, and our emotional mind gives them a rating. Hot and right on, or danger, danger, don't do that, don't even think of it. You notice that? Isn't that nice? We can think all sorts of things and we'll know whether it's going to be good for us or not by the way we feel. It's as simple as that. Regardless of what the poster said, this test, which is our life, has instructions. It's an open book test. Your emotions are this life's guidance and instructions. It's user manual. Just like negative emotions, if a thought makes you feel good, a feeling of hope, love, happiness, that positive emotion is telling you that which you're thinking right now is in alignment with what you want. It's really that simple. What am I attracting now? How do I feel right now? I feel good. Okay. Keep doing that. If what you're thinking makes you feel dark or fearful or any of the negative emotions, then change your thoughts. Then, right then, not later, and definitely not, do not act on those thoughts. Because changing a thought is definitely easier than changing the results of an action. Let me say that again. Changing a thought is definitely easier than changing the consequences of an action. Seth said, consciousness creates form. It is not the other way around. Okay, there's those people out there that say, materialists, I think they're called, philosophers that say it's the mind that's creating consciousness, and when we're dead, the consciousness just gone, dead. And oh yeah, it reminds me of a quote. I'm just going to have to throw this in here. Nietzsche said, God is dead, and God answered back, Nietzsche is dead. And I like that anyways. So consciousness creates form. It's not the other way around. You have been given the most awesome gift of all, the ability to project your thoughts outward into physical form. That's what we've done here. Everything we see around us is our thoughts cast out into physical form. Experience is our teacher. And that which we cast into form helps us examine outwardly what we're thinking inside. That's what we're here for. Everything around us, our thoughts become physical so we can look at them, feel them, express them, understand them more clearly. The dance between thought and action is the basis for our experience here. It's lifeblood. And yes, this life is a test. It's only a test, meaning that's all it is, nothing more, but also nothing less. For every moment you pass through determines your future for eternity. Let me say that again. Every moment you pass through determines your future for eternity. Emmanuel said, each soul enters into a physically symbolized reality of that soul's conscious resistance to the inner light. Okay, I will take this a step further. Each soul enters into a physically symbolized reality of that soul's deepest desires. This doesn't only include our resilience to the inner light, it also there's a deeper desire. That is that we return home. It is within our humanity that we will learn to recognize our divinity. Therefore, the underlying purpose of life, which is a test, is to return home. Hayton said, become aware of your Creator, become aware of his desire, and when you know this desire, you will know your own. For you and your Creator are one, and you are one with all his parts, and therefore one with all your fellow beings throughout all of creation. What we are seeking then, on a subconscious level, is union with God. For his desires to become ours. Rumi said, what you are seeking is seeking you. What can we do to meet him halfway? How do we approach God? With a broken heart and contrite spirit. In Psalm 34, we find the following words of truth. The Lord is near to those who have a broken heart and saves such as have a contrite spirit. What is a broken heart? That something outside of us has broken our heart. Okay, it usually means that a hope has been thwarted or blasted, or a romantic love has been met with apathy. There's something outside of us that's broken our heart. But clearly the Lord is saying in this psalm that we should bring a broken heart to him. And broken in this case does not mean distressed or tormented. It means an open heart. It is a heart that is susceptible to the Spirit. A broken heart is an open heart that God can fill with his love. Where is love found? Within an open heart. What is the price? You must have an open heart. In the final act of life, at the end of all things, you'll see the light of love shining through the clouds. Through love. The phrase, at the end of all things, is from the Lord of the Rings. Just after Sam and Frodo had destroyed the Ring of Power, they're laying hopelessly on a rocky outcropping, waiting for the lava flow to come and kill them, take their life. Frodo says, I'm glad to be here with you, Sam Gamgee, here at the end of all things. In this epic story, Sam and Frodo are partners with a higher power, which guided and assisted them, but not too much. Let this be a pattern for our own lives. In what way can we join with God to bring about his designs, his desires? In what way are his desires our own? There is divine order in all the creations of God. There is a reason for everything, a purpose for life's difficulties as well as its joys and achievements. One thing leads to another. Never say a thing is good or bad, because it might turn out to be the opposite the next day. It's hard to see really what something is. And it reminds, this is a Taoist proverb. You've heard many versions of it. It's true. Kind of like when your sons are teenagers, you're sure you made a mistake. And then they become adults and they're, and you go like, oh, it was okay. Kind of like the old people that, forget, parents kind of forget some of those things as the years go on. But here's a little interesting tidbit here. The US standard railroad gauge, the distance between the rails is 4 feet, 8.5 inches. I wondered why such an odd measurement was being used. So I investigated and found that the wagon wheels use the same spacing. Okay. And that was because the ancient roads that crisscrossed England had deep ruts in them, which were, you guessed it, 4 feet, 8.5 inches apart. The ancient roads were made by the Romans, and the ruts were made by their chariots. Now we're getting somewhere. We can ask the Romans. Okay, Romans, tell me please why the distance between the chariot wheels was 4 feet, 8.5 inches. So, can we hear them? The answer is that the width of the Roman chariot was determined by the width of 2 war horses, which would be pulling the chariot. So the US standard railroad gauge, which is 4 feet, 8.5 inches, was determined by the width of a horse's ass. Who would have guessed that the gauge of the American railroad tracks would have come from such humble circumstances? Now, how many of you have run across a chain of circumstances in your life which led from good to bad and so forth until you lost track? And so what came first? That one event in your life would lead to another until a whole chain of events were strung out that would influence your future in ways unimaginable where the journey of life had just begun. I've experienced that. I see some heads nodding. And then I see some heads nodding. Oh, just teasing. Now, follow the path. Trust divine order. That's a phrase we use in unity. It's evident. And pray always. And remember this. Each turn at bat gives us an opportunity to learn, make changes, and improve. Each turn gives us a new chance to make a difference in this world. Who knows what you will become at the end of all things? Oh, do you remember the exchange in the animated classic The Lion King between the deceased King Mufasa and his lion cub Simba? After his father's death, Simba had left home and wasted his time in riotous living. Then Simba saw his father in a vision, and when he attempted to justify his aimless lifestyle, his father taught him this divine truth. You have forgotten who you are because you have forgotten me. Huh? Let me say it again. You have forgotten who you are because you have forgotten me. The cruelest thing you can do to a human being is to make him forget that he is a son or daughter of a king. There is a direct relationship between our personal experience with the Lord and how we see ourselves. And there is a direct relationship between how we see others and how we see ourselves. Once you have found God and found yourself, look around. Do not think for an instant that union with God is a solo flight into the heavens. It is not. We will all descend together at the end of all things. And so we have come to full circle as my sermon comes to an end. From life as a test to our emotional guidance system and the law of manifestation, and on to our deepest desires and the mysterious workings of God. God once said in a vision, "It is my work and my glory to bring to pass the immortality and eternal life of man. If God can take this task on, then so can we. So can we." I'm pausing so you know that's the end of my talk. I really enjoy giving these things. And they're a total kick to write. So I hope you enjoy these things.